Hey guys, 2026 is here. But before we completely move forward into the new year, here at Trash Pickins, we'd like to take a look back at something that we think is actually pretty important. Memes.
Ooh! Ah!
We're going to do a month-by-month deep dive, looking at the memes in the order in which they actually appeared in Peak, all for the purposes of answering a bigger question. Why did these memes go viral? Sorry. Why did these memes go viral, and why right now? Memes are actually really fascinating because they're kind of like an intersection between lowbrow humor, commercial influence, and just plain escapism. But if that sounds overly academic to talk about memes that way, well, actually, it isn't. Memes aren't just a niche part of the internet anymore. In fact, they're one of the most common ways that we all collectively communicate with each other. So we're here to show how looking at memes critically is actually crucial for revealing how the psychological needs of our current reality is either failing or succeeding to be met. So without further ado, let's jump into it. All right, January 2025 started strong with one of, I think, the year's most enduring memes, the Cynthia Erivo expressions. And for those of you who live under a rock, and genuinely congratulations if you do. Cynthia Erivo is an actress who recently starred in the adaptation Wicked movies. Several interviews she gave while promoting the film went viral, largely due to her charismatic presence and her highly expressive reactions. Two moments became specifically memeable. One, as you may have seen, the head tapping in thought, and the dramatic theatrical gasp. GIFs of these clips began circulating in early January, with some of the earliest known posts appearing around January 7th and January 14th, primarily on Twitter/X and TikTok. From there, these expressions quickly became detached from the original interviews and became go-to reaction GIFs across many platforms. And they're still used to this day. Moving on to February. February marked a very big one for 2025. Italian brain rot. In short, I would describe Italian brain rot kind of like a sort of chaotic ecosystem of AI-generated characters. These characters battle one another, form alliances, develop rivalries, and occasionally have relationship, and it's kind of all stitched together with user-generated lore. In February, hundreds of these creatures quickly flooded the internet. For better or for worse, mostly for worse. The first widely recognized character was Bombardino Crocodilo, which was first posted on TikTok on February 20th. This format sort of exploded, and users were rapidly generating and adding to this pantheon of weird AI art characters. And like I said, this is a big one for 2025, so if you want a deeper breakdown of this specific meme, I actually covered how this trend started and why it resonated. Despite the fact that people make fun of this one for being AI slop, I actually think it's a pretty interesting one, so I'd highly recommend you check it out. Next up is March. And I know I keep saying this, but I think I really mean it this time. This is probably the biggest meme of 2025. March delivered us what would be known as
6-7.
6-7-6-7-6-7.
One that arguably everyone across all generations had come to hear one way or another. On March 31st of 2025, a video of a middle school basketball game was uploaded to YouTube. In the clip, 12-year-old Maverick Trevelyan, later nicknamed the 6-7 Kid, briefly pops into frame and randomly shouts out 6-7 while performing the distinctive hand gesture that we've all come to know and love/hate. The clip spread rapidly across TikTok and Instagram, where Gen Alpha in particular began imitating and shouting the gesture at massive scale, both online and offline. Young Maverick was not the first one in order to create this meme, but just the person to popularize it. 6-7 had actually already been around in sort of niche parts of the internet, and is actually a reference to a Skrilla song, Doot Doot 6-7.
Put belt right to they behind, the way that swing, I know he died. 6-7.
And let me just say, just a bit of catharsis for anyone who absolutely hates this meme because they think it has no meaning. The top comment on the original video of the basketball game is, and I quote,
"You ruined the earth, bro."
Moving on to April. This one was an interesting one because it came in real strong and then left almost immediately. On April 4th, the Minecraft movie dropped. With much anticipation, the movie hit theaters and quickly became kind of like the modern-day Rocky Horror Picture Show, where audience members would interact with the screen bringing props or shouting phrases in unison, singing along. And one of these moments became instantly memeable. During a scene featuring a baby zombie riding a chicken, something that is actually a long-standing Minecraft in-game thing, audiences at the movie would stand up and shout the phrase,
Chicken jockey!
Naturally, clips of people screaming, "Chicken jockey!" spread rapidly across TikTok and other platforms in early to mid-April, and reports of teens shouting the phrase during the screenings, disrupting showings, throwing popcorn everywhere, prompted theaters to issue warnings and actually remove attendees, and in some cases actually call the cops. Like I said, it came in real strong, and then very quickly after everyone saw the movie, died away. No one really talked about it. But still, it definitely gets a place on the 2025 meme board. May. By May, memes took a dive into sort of the luxury absurdism with the rise of what we call Labubu Matcha Dubai Chocolate. Labubu Matcha Dubai Chocolate isn't actually a meme within itself, but it's actually just kind of a conglomeration of trends that were happening all at this time and trends that happen to share a very similar aesthetic. And that aesthetic being hyper-consumerism centered around rare luxury items. Labubu collectibles, for example, often compared to Beanie Babies back in the 90s, had fans lining up and even fist-fighting over getting the rarest plushies. At the same time, there were foods like Dubai chocolate that were being released under tightly controlled drops. For example, it would only be available on a specific app at 2 p.m. every day, and it would sell out within minutes. And so because these trends all happen to be pushed around the same time on social media, naturally people had a reaction to seeing these sorts of trends popping up all over the place. Users started to poke fun at the manufactured scarcity and created sort of parody TikTok videos featuring the products, also framed as rare, indulgent, and impossibly aesthetic. While these trends began gaining traction in mid-April, by early May, major outlets were reporting on this viral craze, sort of cementing it in its place in the broader meme ecosystem. June. As summer began to make its way into 2025, Gen Z had their moment in the memosphere, the Gen Z stare. And no, I'm a millennial, so I'm not gonna try it. This meme centered on a blank, unreactive expression specifically attributed to Gen Z and often framed it as a kind of intentional lack of enthusiasm that the generation is said to embody. In interaction, instead of laughing, engaging, or explaining, the Gen Zer simply just stares.
By the way, this is the Gen Z stare. Hi, how are you today? I'm okay. What'd you want to do today? Are you slow?
The humor comes from their refusal to perform, react, or do any sort of emotional labor in any situation, which, to be honest, I think we can kind of all relate to at this point. And whether or not this is a universally Gen Z mannerism, countless videos and skits began to pop up all over the internet and exaggerated the expression to sort of make the humor funnier. The earliest known explicit use of the term Gen Z stare appeared as a hashtag on TikTok on June 25th and helped solidify the label of something that people already recognized. July. This one was a pretty universal one across all generations. On July 16th of 2025, during a Coldplay concert at Gillette Stadium, a routine kiss cam moment turned a bit weird. Normally, when kiss cams land on couples at events, the expectation is to either kiss or wave or hug, and then the camera just moves by. In this case, the kiss cam found a couple that didn't do that. Instead, they hesitated, acted awkward, and then completely ducked out of the way as to not be on the camera.
Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
Naturally, that sparked curiosity for many people as to why the hell would you do that? And this brief exchange was clipped and shared numerous times across all platforms, unfortunately for the couple. And the internet soon found out that the two people featured were having an affair. Wah wah. And also that both of these people were executives at a billion-dollar company. Because of this, the moment became instant meme fodder and spawned endless parodies and jokes, and still pops up here and there to this day. August. August brought us another heavy hitter for sure. If you've spent any time on the internet, I'm sure you've seen this one. Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. This meme uses audio from a cheerful advertisement by a British low-cost airline, Jet2, which uses the upbeat slogan, "Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday."
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday.
TikTok creators in particular began pairing this audio with footage of ironic travel disasters, sometimes missed flights, filthy hotels, storms, injuries, and just general vacation mishaps.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. And right now,
the humor was supposed to come from the contrast between the optimistic voice and the ridiculously chaotic footage that would pair with it. This is classic internet irony. The original commercial dates back to 2022, and there is no single creator credited with starting the ironic trend of reusing this audio. However, Jet2 did re-upload their commercial on their YouTube in 2024. By July 21st of 2025, the trend had fully gone mainstream, with major outlets like Forbes or The Guardian covering its viral spread, which definitely helped cement it as one of the defining memes of the summer. September. September brought us Rapture Talk. If you haven't seen this one, it's actually pretty funny. This one isn't a meme that is a single sound or an image, it's more a reaction to a cultural event. It's centered around false prophet Joshua Malekla, sorry if I'm not pronouncing that right, who claimed that the world was going to end on September 23rd of 2025. Obviously, this was not true, and the internet did what the internet does best. It made fun of him. Rapture Talk took over TikTok with satirical and ironic videos where users joked about selling their possessions in preparation for the rapture, leaving farewell notes, or they made skits about ascension prep, basically treating the end of the world like it's this ridiculous content opportunity, all while poking fun at the ridiculous nature of making prophecies like this.
My neighbor thinks today's the rapture.
These are just a few things to keep in mind if I'm chosen during the rapture. Number one, I'm planning on wearing a denim miniskirt with built-in shorts underneath from Hollister so that nobody can see my underwear when I'm ascending. Number two, from now until the rapture, I'm no longer counting calories because I know that once I get to heaven, I'll be given my dream body anyways. Number three, I'm gonna be live streaming while I ascend, and I'll also be making videos and posting about like what heaven is like and stuff like that once I get up there.
The trend peaked around September 23rd to 24th because that's when the rapture was supposed to happen. But then, when nothing happened, as expected, the meme sort of died down. But it definitely takes a place in the 2025 memes. October. This one brings us arguably the most outwardly political meme. During nationwide protests in Portland, Oregon in the US, a demonstrator opposing federal immigration enforcement showed up in an inflatable animal costume, specifically a green inflatable frog, which very quickly captured attention online. The moment that sparked the virality actually happened on October 3rd, specifically in a video when this protester in the frog suit was confronted by a federal agent. In the footage, an officer sprays pepper spray into the frog costume's air vent, which keeps the costume inflated. This was posted to social media platforms and racked up millions of views. The individual inside the costume, later identified as Seth Todd, also known as Toad, became known as the Portland Frog. And the imagery of this frog spread rapidly, turning into a meme that kind of symbolized a sort of absurdist, creative form of resistance in the face of political tension, and sparked numerous people showing up to protests now wearing animal costumes. November. This one, I think, is my personal favorite meme of the year. Frieren looking up. I think I like this meme so much because it's kind of like the OG memes. It's just a classically hand-drawn image that went viral. This meme originates from a random online user that shared fan art of an anime drawing that they did from the anime Frieren Beyond Journey's End. The drawing features the character Frieren gazing upwards with a calm expression, but with some pretty funky perspective and anatomy on that chin, bro. The drawing first appeared on November 12th, when Reddit user SpaceDev1 shared their drawing to the rFrieren subreddit. And it spread rapidly across Reddit and then onto other platforms. This drawing alone inspired countless artists online in order to take to social media to try to redraw the image with more appropriate perspective, talk about anatomy and the struggles of learning to draw. And some people even took this iconic pose that bastardized the upward look and applied it to their own work in an ironic way. December, and 2025 ends strong with another one of my personal favorites, Conformitygate. And I'm not going to dive too deep into this one because we actually do have a video coming out all about this one specifically. We're actually waiting for the discourse to kind of cool down before we share it because it actually is currently still ongoing. In late December, the long-running Netflix series Stranger Things aired its final season. Many fans were deeply, deeply disappointed with how the writers wrapped up the show. And almost immediately, a conspiracy began circulating around the internet that this couldn't possibly be the real ending, right? There must be a secret episode that will drop soon to reveal the true ending of Stranger Things. This conspiracy became known as Conformitygate.
A surprise final Stranger Things episode is dropping next week. At least that's what some fans want you to believe. People started going through the finale and finding some very weird things. That's just either production details or maybe this is real.
I like to think of it as the inverse Mandela effect. Instead of collectively misremembering something from the past that never happened, we're all collectively trying to manifest something into the future that's never going to happen. Suffice to say, there was no secret episode. At least not yet, because like I said, it's still ongoing. Point being, numerous fans and influencers took to social media to piece together secret messages and decode signs and symbols in all of the episodes to try to piece together this conspiracy that the writers were trying to somehow signal to us that a secret episode is coming and we should all wait and see. Okay, before we move on, some of you might be wondering why I didn't mention a bunch of other memes that were popular. And if you're upset that I missed one that you're thinking about, to quote another December meme, you can just Just kidding. Please don't suck anything of mine. But for real, 2025 had a lot of memes. The ones I included here in this list weren't meant to be exhaustive. They were just ones that were kind of peak popularity and marked sort of cultural flashpoints for 2025. With that being said, here are a few honorable mentions. And if there's a meme that wasn't mentioned that you love or you think is important, leave a comment, let us know, make a case. We'd genuinely be interested in hearing what you have to say. So we've identified the biggest memes of 2025, but Why does this matter? Beyond the laughs in group chats, obviously. The short answer is we can actually learn a lot from what becomes popular. Take the 1960s in the US, for example. The sort of psychedelic hippie aesthetic didn't just appear out of nowhere as a vibe. In hindsight, when we look back at it, it's obvious that this aesthetic or trend was deeply inspired by the culture at the time, specifically the war and the civil rights unrest that was happening all around. What may look kind of like a simple clothing style was actually more of an expression of resistance, for example. This kind of analysis falls under cultural sociology, and one idea specifically that shows up in this field of study is called the affect theory. And the core idea is simple. Things can move us internally before we even understand them. This theory differentiates between emotion and affect. Affect is something that is bodily, a sort of preconscious reaction we feel before we can actually put words to the emotion. And one could argue, memes actually work exactly the same way. They often capture and transmit really specific feelings faster than even language can. That's honestly why they become one of the most common forms of communication online. As scholar Sarah Ahmed puts it, emotions do not reside in objects or subjects, but are produced as effects of circulation. In other words, the more a meme circulates, the more the feelings around it sticks. And over time, the meme kind of becomes a shared container for this collective mood or emotion. And I know, we're not professional sociologists, but we can still use this framework to reflect on the memes of 2025. What kind of feelings did these viral symbols evoke? And why did they resonate so strongly? And I think when you actually look closely, patterns do start to emerge. For example, the Gen Z stare captures exhaustion. It's an expression of a generation too burned out by work and instability to perform enthusiasm anymore, and they cope by emotionally shutting down. Rapture Talk laughs at the apocalypse, revealing how desensitized we've become to constant crisis. When everything feels catastrophic all the time, the end of the world just feels like any other day. And the Coldplay Kiss Cam wasn't just laughing at someone else's expense, it was actually catharsis. It was this rare instance where powerful, wealthy people were publicly embarrassed and for once didn't immediately escape the consequences. Even though it was meant to be humorous, it was a sense of relief. And the Labubu Dubai chocolate parodies mock excessive consumerism, as it captures the feeling of fatigue with non-stop marketing, scarcity drops, and aesthetic lifestyles that in this modern day feel increasingly unattainable. And even memes like Italian brain rot and Free Run Looking Up point to something deeper. A culture trying to make sense of AI, automation, and what human imperfection means in a world where machines are approaching perfection. When you strip away all the jokes, these memes paint a surprisingly clear picture of a society that's struggling with capitalism, technological acceleration, and uncertainty about the future. While those things may be dark, it still doesn't necessarily cancel out the humor of the memes. If anything, it explains it, as making things funny is our way of trying to cope with the sadness. So, in conclusion, yes, memes are ridiculous, stupid, and they're fun, but they're also our modern-day emotional thermometer. The next time you send dozens of memes to your friends without thinking, it might be worth asking yourself, why did I send this meme? What feeling is it carrying? And what does it say about what we are beneath all of the pixels and memeage irony? If you've made it all the way to the end of the video, I just want to give you an extra special thanks. Thanks so much for caring about media literacy. It's very much needed in this day and age, I'm sure you know. Anyway, I hope you learned something. Please like and subscribe. We're still a tiny channel. It helps us a lot. I know you hear all the YouTubers say this, but we'd really appreciate it. Hope you have a great new year. Hope you enjoy the memes of 2025, and I hope we make a lot of crazy, weird new ones for 2026 that are a little bit less depressing.